Have you ever felt a profound sense of unease, even when your world is silent? A heavy quiet settles in, but inside your mind, a storm rages. This feeling of disquiet, often called anxiety, can feel like an unwelcome guest, a shadow that follows you through the day and lingers in the sleepless nights. We tend to see it as an enemy, a weakness to be overcome, or an emotion to be suppressed. But what if we reframe this perspective? What if the very turmoil we try to push away is actually a guide leading us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves? As we journey through life, moments of quiet reflection become more frequent. These pauses, these moments of stillness, can feel unsettling. We are left alone with our thoughts and anxieties about the past, worries for the future, and a sense of uncertainty can fill the void. The wisdom of Buddhist philosophy offers a revolutionary way to view this internal turmoil. The teachings suggest that anxiety is not a personal failure, but a universal part of the human condition. It's a signal, an invitation to look inward and learn more about who we are. In this reflection, we will explore a simple yet powerful Buddhist concept that can transform your relationship with anxiety, offering a path to peace that grows stronger as you embrace the present moment. By shifting our perspective, we learn not to battle our unease, but to see it as a doorway to self-awareness and freedom. The roots of our restlessness, grasping and resisting. As we journey through life and grow older, anxiety often becomes more pronounced, especially during moments of stillness and silence. It's not just a concern about the future, but rather a deeper, more pervasive feeling that something is missing or wrong in our lives. This feeling can be unsettling, even overwhelming. According to Buddhist teachings, this unease arises from two primary impulses: grasping and resisting. Grasping is the human tendency to cling tightly to things, to what we love, cherish, and hold dear. This can include relationships, comforts, habits, or even a sense of control that we believe gives us security. However, as life inevitably changes, our attachment to these things can trigger fear and anxiety. We grow afraid of losing our health, our loved ones, or the routines that make us feel grounded. This attachment is a natural impulse, but it's also one that often leads to suffering because, no matter how tightly we hold on, we cannot prevent change from happening. When we fear the loss of what we love, we end up suffering even before that loss occurs. On the flip side, resisting is the instinctive drive to push away what we don't want. This could be anything from physical pain to emotional distress, illness, loneliness, or simply the relentless passage of time. In Buddhist philosophy, it's understood that all things are impermanent. This means that everything in life is constantly changing, and nothing is meant to last forever. The Buddha taught that attempting to resist the flow of life only compounds our suffering. We can't hold on to what we have, and we certainly can't stop the inevitable march of time. The harder we fight against these natural changes, the more we deepen our anxiety. The truth is, we were never truly in control of these changes to begin with, and acknowledging this fact is the first step toward freedom. The greatest lesson we can learn from Buddhist philosophy is that our suffering does not come from change itself. It arises because we refuse to let go of what once was. When we hold on to the past or try to resist the present moment, we create unnecessary tension within ourselves. The longer we fight against the natural flow of life, the more anxious and unsettled we become. The practice of mindfulness and acceptance teaches us that by letting go of our attachment to the past and ceasing to resist the present, we can make room for peace and serenity in our hearts. When we learn to release our grip on the past and stop pushing against the current of life, we begin to experience the freedom that comes with surrender. It's only when we stop trying to control every aspect of our lives and embrace the natural impermanence of all things that we truly find peace. Accepting change rather than resisting it brings us closer to inner calm and understanding, and that is the key to easing the anxiety that so often accompanies aging and life's transitions. The liberating thought, "This is not myself." Buddhist wisdom, though often simple in its teachings, holds a profound power capable of deeply transforming how we perceive and engage with life. One of the most liberating lessons offered by Buddhism is the understanding that our thoughts are not permanent, and not all of them reflect the truth. This realization, though seemingly simple, can lead to a profound shift in our relationship with ourselves, others, and the world around us. It offers a path to freedom from the relentless grip of anxiety which so many of us experience, particularly during times of uncertainty, stress, or life transitions. Anxiety often takes root in our minds through a single thought. This thought lingers, growing stronger over time, turning into a persistent feeling that is difficult to shake off. Phrases like, "What if this feeling never goes away?" or "I'm losing my mind," can easily snowball into an overwhelming sense of hopelessness. In these moments, we often make the mistake of believing these thoughts are not only true, but also that they define who we are. We begin to identify with them, and in doing so we lose touch with the truth, that thoughts are just fleeting impressions, much like clouds drifting across the sky. They come and go, without permanence. The key to freeing ourselves from anxiety lies in recognizing these thoughts for what they truly are: temporary, passing impressions that do not define us. We are not required to suppress these thoughts, push them away, or try to eliminate them. Instead, the practice is to observe them with awareness, without attaching to them. This practice, called non-identification, is a central concept in Buddhist philosophy. It involves the profound understanding that our true identity is not determined by our thoughts, emotions, or feelings. We are the awareness that observes these thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. When anxiety arises, it is common to want to push it away, deny it, or suppress it. But according to the Buddha's teachings, this reactive approach only intensifies the anxiety. The true practice is not to try to eliminate the anxious feelings, but rather to allow them to be, without attaching to them. By simply observing them, we realize that anxiety is not a permanent or defining part of who we are. It is merely a thought, or a series of thoughts, passing through the mind, much like any other. As we practice non-identification more consistently, we begin to break the cycle of anxiety. We come to understand that we are not our thoughts or emotions. We are the awareness that simply observes them. This shift in perspective allows us to disempower anxiety. When we realize that we are not defined by our thoughts, we can see them for what they truly are, temporary and impermanent. They no longer have the power to control us because we no longer identify with them. By cultivating this awareness, we create a space of freedom from the overwhelming grip of anxiety. We no longer need to fear our thoughts or emotions because we understand that they do not define us. We are not our fears, our worries, or our anxieties. We are the awareness that simply watches them come and go. This simple yet profound shift in perspective can be incredibly liberating, leading to a deeper sense of inner peace that transcends the temporary nature of any thought or emotion. Through the ongoing practice of non-identification, we begin to experience life with a new sense of freedom. The awareness that watches our thoughts is steady, calm, and unchanging. It is through this awareness that we are able to navigate the challenges of life with greater peace, understanding, and clarity. The more we practice, the more we come to realize that our true nature is not found in our thoughts, but in the stillness and awareness that observes them. In this space, anxiety loses its power, and we find a profound sense of freedom that enables us to embrace life with a renewed sense of peace and openness. If this message resonates with you, and you're seeking more moments of peace and insight, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for daily reflections rooted in ancient wisdom and modern clarity. Anchoring in the now, the practice of presence. Mindfulness, at the core of Buddhist practice, is an extraordinarily powerful tool for managing and alleviating anxiety. It's the art of being fully present, of immersing ourselves in the current moment without judgment or distraction. In a world brimming with noise, stress, and the constant rush of modern life, this deceptively simple practice offers a profound antidote to the overwhelming grip of anxiety that so many of us experience. Mindfulness invites us to step away from the relentless stream of thoughts, worries, and distractions that often pull our minds out of the present moment, projecting us into the future or dwelling on the past. We often find ourselves caught up in endless what-ifs about the future, or ruminating on if only regarding the past, which only fuels our anxiety. Mindfulness, however, encourages us to return to the here and now, to experience life as it unfolds in this very moment. The Buddha's teaching is as clear as it is profound. Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. It's within this space between the endless cycle of what if and if only that anxiety takes hold. Mindfulness serves as the antidote, gently guiding us back to the present, where peace can be found. The practice of mindfulness requires us to shift our attention away from the past or future and toward the immediate present. It asks us to notice the simple, often overlooked sensations of life, the rhythm of our breath as it moves in and out of our body, the feel of our feet grounding us to the earth, the sounds around us, whether it's the rustle of the wind, the hum of distant traffic, or the melody of birds singing. These are not just ordinary sensations. They become a mental anchor, tethering us to the moment and preventing us from being swept away by the current of anxious thoughts. By focusing on these simple sensory experiences, we begin to cultivate a state of awareness that allows us to be present, to observe the thoughts and feelings that arise without becoming entangled in them. I once sat in a meditation session with a man named Arthur, a 70-year-old artist who had spent much of his life consumed by fears about his health and his creative output. Every quiet moment seemed filled with fear. His thoughts would race, imagining all the worst-case scenarios, his health deteriorating, his creativity fading, and his life spiraling out of control. When Arthur was introduced to mindfulness, he initially found it difficult to focus, but over time, he learned to use his breath as an anchor, a simple but powerful tool to bring his awareness back to the present moment. Each time anxiety rose, he would gently guide his attention to the rhythm of his breath, inhaling, exhaling, simply being with the breath. Slowly, he started to detach from the overwhelming thoughts, and his mind found more space to rest in the present. This practice didn't eliminate his worries entirely, but it helped him develop a healthier relationship with them. He began to live more fully in each moment, without being consumed by constant worry. Mindfulness doesn't promise to eradicate anxiety or eliminate all of life's challenges, but it offers a way to navigate through them with more grace and clarity. It teaches us how to observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. Instead of fighting or resisting the feelings of anxiety, we can simply observe them as they arise and pass away. This subtle shift allows us to find solid ground, even in the midst of emotional storms. By returning our attention to the present moment, mindfulness helps us build resilience and emotional stability. When we stop fighting against the thoughts and feelings that cause us distress, we begin to understand that they are temporary, impermanent, and do not define us. We are not our anxiety, nor are we the thoughts that arise in our minds. We are the awareness that observes them. By consistently practicing mindfulness, we create space for a deeper sense of inner peace that can withstand even the most overwhelming emotions. It's important to note that mindfulness doesn't require perfection or an absence of emotions. It is not about forcing ourselves to feel calm or suppressing our fears. Instead, it's about embracing the full spectrum of human experience, allowing ourselves to feel what we feel, while also cultivating the awareness to notice when we are caught in our thoughts. The beauty of mindfulness lies in its simplicity. By focusing on the present moment, we can release the grip of anxiety, allowing us to live more fully and more peacefully, no matter the circumstances. With time and consistent practice, mindfulness offers the potential for profound transformation. It doesn't promise to solve all of our problems, but it provides the tools to meet them with more awareness, more peace, and more presence. As we cultivate this practice, we learn to be less reactive, more grounded, and ultimately more at peace with the flow of life regardless of the challenges we face. A simple phrase to disarm anxiety: this is not mine. The Buddha's teachings offer profound insight into the nature of suffering and the path to freedom, especially when it comes to understanding the root causes of anxiety and how we can overcome it. One of the most powerful tools that Buddhism provides is the simple yet transformative realization that we are not our anxiety. Anxiety may come, but it does not define who we are. It is merely an experience, one that can pass just like any other emotion or thought. The Buddha taught that we are not the sum of our thoughts and emotions. We are, in fact, the awareness that observes them. This is the key concept of non-identification, a powerful practice that invites us to recognize that we are separate from our thoughts and feelings. When we identify with our anxiety, we become trapped in it, believing it to be a permanent part of who we are. We may even convince ourselves that it will be with us forever. However, the reality is that anxiety is a temporary experience, one that arises and fades away. Like clouds in the sky, it is transient and impermanent. By consciously reminding ourselves with phrases like, "This is not myself," "This is not me," or "This is not who I am," we begin to reclaim our inner peace and sense of self. This simple practice of non-identification allows us to shift our perspective from being consumed by anxiety to becoming the observer of it. Instead of getting swept up in the emotions, we step back and watch them from a place of calm. We create a mental and emotional space between ourselves and the anxiety, which is the first step in finding freedom from its grip. I recall hearing about a man named David, a 75-year-old widower, who had been consumed by feelings of anxiety and loneliness after the loss of his wife. His grief and fear felt overwhelming, as though they were all-encompassing. Every day the weight of these emotions seemed to drown him, leaving him feeling powerless. But then, David was introduced to the practice of non-identification. He was taught to repeat the words, "This is not me, this is not who I am." Slowly, he began to internalize these words. As he repeated them, he shifted from being absorbed within his anxiety to observing it from a place of calm. The anxiety was still there, but it no longer had the same grip on him. He realized that his true self was not defined by his fears or his grief. He was not his emotions. Over time, as he continued practicing non-identification, his anxiety began to diminish, and he found more moments of peace. This teaching is profoundly beautiful in its simplicity. Anxiety will come and go, just as all emotions do, but it doesn't have to control us. By recognizing that we are not our anxiety, we can create a space for healing, for peace, and for true inner freedom. Instead of seeing anxiety as an insurmountable force, we learn to understand it as something that is part of the flow of life, a feeling that can arise and dissipate without defining us or determining our worth. Through this practice, we come to understand that we are the observer of our thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. We are not the sum of our anxieties, fears, or worries. We are something much deeper, the awareness that watches them arise, transform, and eventually fade. This realization allows us to approach life with a new sense of freedom and empowerment. We are no longer prisoners of our emotions, but rather the conscious beings who can choose how to respond to them. By consistently practicing non-identification, we cultivate the ability to face anxiety, stress, and difficult emotions with a sense of calm and detachment. Instead of being overwhelmed, we find ourselves more grounded in the present moment, observing the ebb and flow of our thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them. This is the true path to freedom, recognizing that while anxiety may visit, it is not who we are and it does not have to control us. Through mindfulness, awareness, and the practice of non-identification, we open the door to deeper peace and healing, no matter what life brings. The path to inner peace isn't about eliminating anxiety, but about changing our relationship with it. As we've explored, Buddhist philosophy offers a powerful roadmap for this journey. By understanding the roots of our restlessness in grasping and resisting, we can begin to loosen their hold. The simple yet profound act of realizing that "this is not myself" can free us from the cycle of fear and worry. Our thoughts and emotions are like passing clouds. They don't define the vast open sky of our true being. By anchoring ourselves in the present moment through mindfulness and meeting our inner turmoil with self-compassion, we can learn to observe our anxiety without becoming lost in it. So, the next time anxiety arises, try not to fight it. Instead, meet it with a gentle awareness. See it for what it is, a temporary feeling, not a permanent part of you. In that moment, you'll discover a quiet peace that has been there all along, a stillness beneath the storm. Thank you for joining me on this reflection. May your journey be filled with peace, clarity, and compassion.